I don't need a fuck 'em. Turn my head the other way when I see 'em. Got no time for that shit, man. I don't need 'em. I don't. And if they roll it like a goof, then we beat 'em. We do. Yo, I ain't got. So, just got yourself a Panasonic GH5. Or you're thinking about getting one and you want to know some tips to start you off on the right foot in 2021? Well, we got that answer coming up for you right after the intro. If you're new to the channel, what's up? I'm S.420, creative director at Passion Video Productions. On this channel, I post tutorials, tips, reviews, and behind-the-scenes segments on videography and editing in Filmora for beginners. If that's something that's of interest to you, consider subscribing and hitting that little bell so you get notified when I post all future content. The GH5 is an amazing camera still to this day.
To this day! To this day!
It was originally released 4 years ago in 2017. It can capture 4K cinema at 400 megabytes per second in anamorphic, 4K ultra high definition at 24 and 30p with 10-bit color, and 4K ultra high definition 60p with 8-bit color at bit rates of 150 megabytes per second with no recording limits.
Damn!
It also records variable frame rates in full HD 1080p with 8-bit color at 100 megabytes per second for super slow motion. This camera is jam-packed with great features. It's got so much that there's not even enough time to talk about them all in this video and keep it condensed and brief how I know you guys like it. So because of that, this is going to be the first part in the best GH5 tips for the perfect camera series. Before we start, I just wanted to say that by no means am I an authority on video or the GH5. I just wanted to share my experience with what I've found and what works best for me while I'm using the camera. With that being said, let's get into what you came here for and start setting your GH5 up as the perfect camera for you in 2021 using manual exposure settings. The first thing we're going to do is program and save our video settings to our liking. The GH5 comes with 3 customizable video settings: C1, C2, and C3. They also include an additional 2 digital custom settings that go under the C3 tab. So what we really get is 5 customizable video settings with the GH5. Once we've selected our frame rate, picture profile, white balance, shutter speed, ISO, and aperture, next we go into the menu under the settings tab and select custom set memory. From there, select the slot that we want to program, and an option box is going to pop up asking if we want to overwrite the camera's original settings. We're going to select yes, and after we do this, the next time we need to use these, we don't have to dial them in each separately. Instead, we just select the program slot we want, and then we're good to go. Learning to customize these settings with this feature will save us a few minutes here and there, and in the end, it's going to give us more freedom to capture what's going on around us in the moment, which is what really counts. The GH5 also has a number of customizable function buttons as well. It has 15 in total, and we'll be setting up one of these next to demonstrate how they work. First, find the function button that we want to program and long press it until the menu pops up. From there, we select the tool that we want to be programmed, and that's it. It's pretty simple. For this example, I'm using the focus peaking. Other functions that I have saved for quick using are my zebra lines for exposure, grids to help with composition, 4K live cropping for B-roll, and a few more that we'll touch on in later videos. If you want to assign and save more functions to your camera than the one that we just went over, you can go back and repeat the following steps that we just covered. After we've saved our functions to our liking, let's not forget to resave our custom video settings like we did in the first step. Otherwise, when we power the camera off, they're not going to be saved and we're going to have to dial them in again next time. I've made that mistake personally a few times now, and it's something I'm telling you guys to help you avoid doing.
I pity the fool that does that.
Next thing we're going to do is switch our shutter from shutter speed to shutter angle. What this does is it automatically changes our shutter speed to double our frame rate, the 180-degree rule. So anytime we switch our frame rate, the camera automatically doubles our shutter speed so that we maintain that natural motion blur. To do this, go into the menu tab and select the manual settings at the top. And from there, we're going to go down to SS gain operation. By default, the camera will be set to shutter speed. We're going to want to change that to angle ISO, and this will change it from shutter speed to shutter angle. Like I mentioned earlier, anytime we customize a new video setting to our liking, let's not forget to resave our custom video settings. Down the line, when we become more experienced with our cameras, we can dial in all the settings we need at one time and then save, instead of setting and saving like we're doing now. But for the sake of learning purposes, we're going to keep doing it this way so we can practice and absorb. The next setting that I customize on the GH5 for flexibility is the ISO increments. To do this, go into the menu and select the camera settings tab. After that, we're going to go up and select ISO increments and change it from 1 to thirds. What this is going to do for us is allow us more options to tweak our ISO settings and in turn produce a better quality image. By default, the ISO settings on the camera keep doubling in increments starting at 200, and they don't allow us the same flexibility.
Go Google that shit, see what I'm talking about.
So this is a good setting to switch to and have saved. Now, we almost have our camera set to get out there and start shooting. The last thing we're going to want to do is decide if we want to have the camera in auto or manual focus. I choose manual focus myself because the GH5 doesn't have the most reliable autofocus. If we're capturing a static shot where there's minimal movement, similar to what's going on right now, then it's not too bad from what I've experienced. And you can choose to go that route if you like. One very cool thing the GH5 is able to do when set in manual focus is called the tap to focus feature. What this does is it allows us to select an area to focus on by touching the touchscreen, and then the camera quickly sets focus without us having to physically dial it in on the lens. This really comes in handy, especially if you're looking to shoot vlog type videos where you need to be in frame and in focus. Well guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today. Now that we have a general understanding of how to lock in these settings to make our GH5 the perfect camera for us, what I want you to do is, if you have a GH5, grab it if it's not already with you, and get out there and start to implement what we just went over. Because when we do this, we have a better chance of absorbing the knowledge that we just took in. Like the saying goes, if we don't use it, we lose it. So get out there and keep it. All right, my passionate family, keep making that content, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. By the way guys, I just recently posted a couple videos talking about the exposure triangle, as well as a behind the scenes segment from a music video shoot that took place in January. You can check out one of those videos now by clicking on these boxes on the screen. I'm out.